Leigh-Anne, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So, Leigh-Anne, I created this show originally during the height of the COVID epidemic. And the purpose of the show was to get everyone's mind off of what was going on in the world and to bring people on for a daily dose of inspiration. But today, I want to do the exact opposite. I want to keep people's minds on what's going on in the world. And you know, the conversation today, it's going to be about equality. It's going to be about Black Lives Matter. And I feel like we meaning white people, really can't comprehend the pain that the Black community has felt over the course of time. We might try and we might do our best, but I think by amplifying messages of people from the community, it's when we can learn some of the best lessons and when things can really hit home. So thank you for giving me your time and for joining me. It is such a pleasure to have you.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Yeah, it's just so important. Like you said, we have to keep the conversation going. So, yeah.
Yes, it is so good to have you. So I'm going to dive in. If you're ready to rock, I say let's dive in.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm turning my air off because I don't want it to interfere with my sound. So stand by 1 second. I am coming. Okay. All right. So, Leigh-Anne, you bravely posted a video on social media that was so heart-wrenching and so incredibly open of you, talking about just some of your many experiences with racism as a Black woman and as an entertainer, and you could feel the pain through the phone watching that. You could feel it, and it was so moving. So for you, what do you hope sharing that video will do?
I guess I just wanted to relate to people. I've spoken about my experiences maybe last year, I think it was. I felt like it kind of fell on deaf ears a little bit. I didn't really feel like enough people cared about it. And yeah, I just think I personally carry this weight around so much, and now the whole world is actually talking about Black lives. I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna lay it all out and just open and just say it, because yeah, it is painful. It is, and I think a lot of Black people carry a weight around with them, and as well, I think it doesn't matter for me. Yes, I'm in the public eye, yes, I'm famous, yes, I might have money, but it doesn't save me from racism. I think every Black person will experience it in their lifetime. So yeah, it was just important for me to get it out there.
And one of the things that struck me the most about that video is you said that, you know, it doesn't matter how much talent you have. It's not enough because you're a Black woman, and you have to work 10 times harder because of the color of your skin. And when you think about that, it's just mind-blowing, because it isn't something that the everyday person has to worry about or think about. And, you know, for you, what were some of those experiences in your industry, in your profession, where you had to deal with racism that maybe looking on the outside, like you said, everyone thinks she's a star, life is perfect. What are some of those moments you experienced?
I think it was more of like an unconscious bias sort of situation. I always felt like the least favoured, the least desired. I would get anxious for fan event signings because I didn't feel like anybody would be calling my name. Even before, like after performances, I'd come off and I would be in tears to like some of my dancers, because I would just sometimes feel like I might as well have not even been there. Like, I really need to learn how to talk about this without crying.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It was horrible. But yeah, I actually remember the time when a radio station, they were holding, what was it, every year they do like the sexiest female. And after 7 years, not nominated, the others were always nominated, but I never was. And then on that year I was, and I kind of pulled them out on it, and I was just a bit like, why was I always the one that just wasn't nominated? And I know it's silly, but to me, it's a bit like, well, this just kind of, it just says a lot, really, and it's ridiculous. And I actually got the tweet up on my phone. Yeah, but it was hard. It was hard. It still is. My reality.
Yeah, and I think you sharing that helps so many people who think, you know, it can't happen to you because of X, Y, and Z, and it really drills in the point that it doesn't matter how much success you have, it doesn't matter how much fame or notoriety, it affects everybody in the Black community, and it's something you haven't been able to escape, which is why Black Lives Matter is so important. It's not just a hashtag, it's not just a trending topic on Twitter. They're words that have meaning. So for you, what do those 3 words mean?
Well, I mean, all lives can't matter. Black lives. And this problem, like, Black lives have for over 400 years, and enough is enough. People are angry now. Like, this is the time for change. It just has to. Like I said, this cannot be a moment. It has to be a moment. It just absolutely has to. I mean, Black people getting murdered on by police serve and protect them. Like, we're asking for a basic human right. It's mind blowing, and I can't fathom how this has been going on for so long. Like I said, enough is enough.
Do you have hope that things are different this time around?
I've never in my lifetime seen the whole about racism, talk about Black lives. I just haven't, and I mean, I do have hope. This does feel so different. This is like something I've never seen before. So, I mean, as I said, people are angry. I don't think this is going to end anytime soon. It can't.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Leigh-Anne, so many people are showing support and are coming out and talking about Black Lives Matter and are really trying to be good allies. But at the same time, I think that many white people think they're the experts now on this topic. And they're posting all day, every day, and telling people what they should and shouldn't be doing. And I think that we need to do a better job asking the Black community what they want to see from us. I think that that's the way to make real change. It's hearing from the source directly. So for you, what would you like to see the white community do to show support and to try to help this cause even further?
Yeah, I feel like it's not really on the Black community to educate the white community, because I feel like Black people didn't start, white community did. I feel like, how are we supposed to end something we didn't create? So I feel like the white community needs to educate themselves and learn and keep the conversation going, and talk to people that you might know about race, and have those awkward conversations, and just educate people that you might feel have race. Yeah, I think it's just all about keeping that conversation going, but we need the white community, and I need that in order to change it. So it is, but also I feel like it's educating your children. Starts with kids. I've nephews, and they've all experienced racism in primary school. Like, it's horrific, and I'm thinking, where did they learn that? How did they learn that? And it's through parenting. So it starts with educating the children, I think.
100%. I think that it starts from the top down, right? And like you said, it's self-education. It's to me, it's not your job, it's not the Black community's job to tell everyone what to do, but I think it's the job of the white communities to help amplify your voices as much as we can, so that we can hear from the people who know it best, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Oy.
And I know it's a lot to talk about, and I'm sure you're tired. I'm sure it's been nonstop for you, right?
So overwhelming, but it's just important. It is so important, and I'm just so, like, I have this platform where I am a Black girl in the pop industry, and I have a predominantly white fan base, and I feel like it is my duty to keep this awareness and going and keep fighting for my people, because it's just important for me to be doing that.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that now is the time when people are listening, and that's how real change can happen, right? You also said something that really stood out to me, and that was that too often Black people are reminded of how far we have come instead of how far we can go. And I thought, wow, that is powerful. So what do you mean by that?
Well, I feel like a lot of people might say, oh, but you've come so far as a race, or it's not as bad as it used to be. But I think the system puts white people here. Like, the fight isn't over until, like, we want equality. The minute it's not equal. Like, the system is not fair. So until that day comes, the fight isn't over.
Right, right. And that brings me to another phrase that I want to bring up, and I think it makes a lot of, frankly, white people uncomfortable. And I don't quite understand why, and that phrase is white privilege. And it's something I know you've referred to in your video and in interviews, and I think it's something that puts people on the defense because for whatever reason they feel accused of something. But to me, it's just a term meant to shed light on, you know, one skin color getting more favorable treatment over the other or over the others throughout the course of time. And it's just factual. So for you, for anyone watching who's got a hard time wrapping their head around that phrase, how would you kind of break that down in a way that it doesn't feel so big?
Okay, maybe I can give an example. So my nephew came, he's a 9-year-old Black boy, super funny, kind, clever, talented, but he statistically is less likely to succeed than his white counterparts. So, for example, he's more likely to get arrested. He's more likely to be put in prison for the same crimes as his white counterpart. He's more likely to be stopped and searched. If he goes on to higher education, he is likely to get into the top university because of his last name. His dad's Nigerian, so his last name is African, so he is less likely to get into the top universities from his last name. If he's less likely to get that job because of his last name. That's white privilege.
Very well said.
One example, like examples of it. Yeah, but again, important thing to speak about because, like you say, like everyone's every day, like, and it's just so to educate yourself on it because like this is the Black community.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more with you on that. For you, we see a lot on the news. We see a lot of these peaceful protests happening across the world, and it must be a very incredibly moving thing to watch happening. People are not being silent. They're standing for what's right. All different races and ethnicities are coming together to support the Black community. So when you see that, what does that mean to you?
It's so overwhelming. I actually went to the march, and it was one of the most things I've ever done. It was such a sense of unity. So many different races, ages, all coming together for one Black lives. And yeah, incredible. And as I say, nothing like I've ever seen in my life. So I guess that's, again, what's making me feel quite hopeful about this, that there is going to be a change.
And for anybody who's afraid to speak about this, who's worried how it might affect their careers, their professions, being somebody in such a high-profile profession and one of the greatest girl groups in the world, what advice do you have?
Oh, well, I think it's something you can't ignore. Like this issue is affecting the whole Black community. It's something that me personally, like I speak on it, and it's not a time to think about fans, like as in like who follows you or anything like that. It's a time to speak up and demand change. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, 100%. Gosh, everyone's commenting saying how much this means to them. I think a lot of people are looking up to you because you're speaking out. I've seen quite a lot of young fans saying that you are giving them so much hope right now, which must be an amazing feeling.
I honestly, like, I can't tell you how much I love my family. They're just incredible, and like the way that they've stuck by me, and just even just reading these comments now, I love you guys so much for everything. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, again.
It's all right. We're in a safe place. And I do want to ask, I saw a fan question scroll by, and I'm so sorry I didn't catch your name in time, but I presume she's a younger fan, and she's saying that a lot of her friends don't understand what this means and how hurtful what's been going on is. So for you, do you have anything you can share with her in terms of how to help people who just don't quite get it, back to what you said earlier, the all lives matter people, how to help them understand what this really is?
It is really hard to understand the feeling if you've never been oppressed, to actually understand what that's like. But it's just a fight for equality. We should have equality. Like, I don't see why we shouldn't. And I say, please just educate yourself and keep learning every day, because I think like this issue is huge, and it's going to affect, as I say, my niece and nephew and my children, and it's just not fair. So, as I say, please and learning, because we have a long way to go, but I do see a change. I do.
And Leigh-Anne, what are some of the most impactful changes that you would like to see happening sooner than later? That might seem simple to somebody who doesn't understand what you're truly going through, but that really does need to change.
Oh, so can you say?
Yeah, so what are some of the things that you would like to see change sooner than later in terms of equality and treatment?
Well, I think the system needs to change. And I mean, it's so complex and time. It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, I think the justice system needs to completely change. All the families that have been affected by the in America with the brutality, like, they all need justice. These cases need to be reopened, and I mean, as I said, a basic, that's all. That's like the basic thing.
Yeah, yeah. And for you, what comes next? How do everyday people who want to stay involved and want to see change happen and follow through with, how do we make sure that this isn't just a moment, like you said earlier, but that this truly remains a movement?
I think just please keep the conversations going. Even social media, all my feed is literally facts and photos and people can try and educate themselves, and I think that's just so important. I don't want to go back to normal right now. We need a conversation going. Yeah, I mean, I have.
Yeah. I think hope is the greatest thing we can all hold on to. I have hope too. I'm based in New York City, and I'm seeing amazing things happening in this city, and then people are not stopping keeping the conversations going around it. And I think that everyone's truly invested in wanting to see much necessary and needed change. So I feel hopeful that it's coming.
But also education, it's so important. When I think what I learned at school, I think I learned a tiny bit about the civil rights movement, but I don't know about I think it's important that like, even before slavery, like, there were kings and queens and royalty, like that, and I think that's really important. But definitely education needs to completely change the curriculum.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. A lot of people are with you, and we saw a great comment asking if you guys would do a song for a charity.
Oh, I've love, definitely. I mean, I haven't seen the girls in like forever, but
yeah, I think people are just craving some more music. That's what they're trying to get.
I'm missing the girls so much.
Leigh-Anne, I'm so happy you decided to take time and join the show. And like you said earlier, and I firmly believe this, it is not the job of the Black community to educate people on this topic. It's up to us to go out there and read and learn history and figure out how we can be better allies and advocates for you guys. But I think it's important for us and for people who have platforms to amplify your messages, because that is, to me, some of the most meaningful ways we can truly, truly hear from your hearts and your souls on what needs to change and what means the most to you during this movement when there's a lot going on.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you for having me and letting me speak. I know my Wi-Fi is absolutely, I'm sorry you didn't hear me properly.
No, I heard you cut out a few times, but we're all with you. Everyone was thrilled that you were on. And again, thank you. I'm truly grateful you took the time out to talk to me, and I will forever do my part to be a champion for you and for the whole community.
Thank you so much.
All right, be safe. Mwah, thank you.